30 minutes, I made £8,000.
What?
So,
what are you doing?
the amount of death threats I've got. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Do you know, this help is
You'd be so shocked.
Like,
you would actually be so shocked.
I've realised, people actually have mental health issues. Sending someone death threats because of a skirt is insane. Thank God.
On today's episode of the Designer Dialogues, I am joined by the incredible Reni, who is the founder of Renway, a rising fashion designer who is already making major moves. From bold concepts to sharp execution, she's turning heads in the industry and recently made an impressive £8,000 in 30 minutes from her first launch alone. Today we are talking about how she did it, what drives her creativity, and what is next for her journey. Let's jump in.
Hey guys, welcome to the Designer Dialogues, and I'm here with Reni, the founder of Renway.
Hey girl.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, thank you.
You're really proud. You don't see it.
Alright, so let's get into it. So let's start with a bit of an icebreaker. So what are your fashion picks and icks at the moment?
Oh, fashion picks is I love like stacked jewelry. I'm really into that like stacked necklaces. I love how everyone's like stacking their rosaries.
Yeah.
I love that. Icks, I'd probably say I don't know, like cottage core shoes with like jeggings or like
Chickens?
girl, I see all over TikTok like a really I wanna like mix and matching styles is just a red flag to me. Like
Chickens is crazy.
no, girl, I saw a video like 2 days ago and I was like
Alright, so when did you realise fashion design was your passion?
oh, I feel like I was always interested in it when I was younger, but I didn't fully like fall into it up until I'd say like my young adult years, up until like 18. I bought myself an iPad and I taught myself like digital fashion design, and then that really like pushed me into actually starting with fashion.
Oh, I love that. It's done such a good job so far.
Thank you.
And so what would you say like inspired you super career in fashion? Because there are girls that have that interest but they wouldn't take that step to say, oh, I'm gonna create a fashion brand. You know what I mean?
I feel like one lack of representation for like people with my body types. I feel like I'm really slim, but I'm like on the taller side. So sometimes I struggle with finding like pants, especially that fit being tall but still slim. And so I kind of wanted to like bridge that gap. And so that's why I started off like creating skirts for the first part because I wanted to cater to a multitude of women. And then when I branched into like trousers and stuff, that's why I was really specific with the sizing and the lengths, just so I could cater to everyone and everyone felt seen and represented.
Yeah, that makes sense because there's a lot of tall girls that constantly complain about the length of trousers and everything like that. And it's just like, they want to wear these things, but then you just come like 3/4.
Exactly, like the ankle swingers, I hate it. Literally, ankle swingers.
Yes. I hear it. And so, who are some of your biggest fashion influences?
Oh, I'd say I don't really go for like fashion designers. I love like celebrities that own their style. So like Cleopatra, I love her style. Reni Lee, I love her style.
Yes, I like her style.
I don't know who else would I say. Probably like Leonie, like the owner of Let Brand. I love her style as well.
These are really good choices. So before we get into it, so you had a really like successful job. So you started in the recent years, then you dropped, and it really went viral. Because even I saw your set as well. But even the time I went to the website, it was sold out. So I was like, this is an example of good marketing. That's why I really wanted you on the Designer Dialogues because you have launched, MIIKEL, you marketed well, and you reached your audience. And I feel like that's such like a thing that needs to be like praised because it's so hard. Like marketing is really like it's another ball game. Do you know what I mean? You can, like I say, you can design, anything like even more amazing than Louis Vuitton or all these designers.
But if you don't
market well, then it's cricket. So we'll just get into that, and that's why like we wanted you on this show just to kind of like see your journey and dive into that.
That sounds good.
Yay. we're gonna get to like your journey and your challenges, but would you like to explain your brand Renway to the audience, and then
Well, I don't know. I think of Renway less as a brand more as a person, strangely enough. I feel like Renway is her own girl, she's her own identity. She's just really unapologetic, she's really bold, she's like super fearless. And yeah, I feel like that basically encapsulates like what my brand stands for. Like I love women that are just so unapologetically themselves. And I feel like sometimes I like tone myself down to fit into like working environments or just to fit into like social like situations. So literally like Renway is like my alter ego. She's just like and I just love her. She just stands for women like me and women that just unapologetically want to be themselves.
I absolutely love that. I love the message you're trying to put forward. So for the audience who doesn't know, like, when did you start? And like, tell us a bit more, like, how you got here.
I started Renway August 2023, 2024. I don't know, one of them. It's been like a year and a bit. But I don't know. I was planning her for like ages. Like I started planning Renway from like COVID times, but she wasn't always called Renway. She was called like a Lafia the label at first, and then I started off with like t-shirts and stuff. Like I feel like everyone goes through a phase. Like it's kind of like a calendar event. You have to start off designing t-shirts until you're like, do you know what I want more? So yeah, that was basically how I started off like my brand, fashion design. But then I stopped selling t-shirts. Well, I didn't sell any t-shirts actually. I used to put out t-shirts and I got no sales. I didn't reach my target audience at all. And then I took a break. I needed to go back to the drawing board, figure out what I really wanted to put out there. And that was when I came up with Renway. And then I literally spent all summer before, planning it, and I literally just kept documenting my entire journey. Like if there's any advice I give anyone, it's always document your journey. And like through documenting my journey, that was actually how I found my target audience. And then a couple of my videos went viral, and then that's what basically pushed me to like more.
That's amazing. I feel like that's so key, like documenting, because you never know when you're gonna need it. Like,
exactly.
We start things, with the intention to be successful, and we need these clips. So when we're on Netflix or whatever,
exactly. No, we can look back at it.
We look back and we can give them all the footage.
Exactly. Like you want to know how I did it, then what?
So literally, so we need to help them out. That's the dream big. So what would you say? Well, you did say you started with t-shirts, but I guess when you started Renway, so what was the first piece you designed, and how do you feel about it now? Like,
my first ever piece was for Renway was the Reni rib skirt suit. I love her. She is my baby. She is my firstborn. She's my child. She is. I feel like she was more so like my hero product. Like whenever anyone thinks of Renway, Reni rib skirt suit is what they think of. I still love her to this day. I just feel like I don't want to just sit there and only be known for that, because I feel like there's so much more life to give.
No, literally, but I think the suit was really, really nice. Like, I haven't seen anything like that. Like, you see like casual stuff, but not really with skirts. Like, most you see with skirts like the tennis.
Exactly.
But you don't really see it as like a,
dress up.
Dress up, going out, you can dress it up, dress it down. It was really, really cute, because I remember looking, I was like, when it sold out. That's the example of good marketing. I see it all on my like TikTok for you page and everything like that. So I just like that well over the years, and you really marketed it well. So what would you say, especially since launching and having a successful job, what were some of your biggest challenges you faced when starting out?
Probably like managing time. That's one, because again I did start running when I was working a full-time job. So, I don't know, I basically had no social life for a while, and I had to be okay with that. You're going to have to make certain sacrifices to get yourself to where you need to be. Another challenge I'll probably say is, I don't know, staying consistent. Because, again, when you get tired, some days you come back home from work, you don't really want to work in a fashion brand. But that's the day that you're not showing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can say that exactly. Struggle that I have as well, because it's like, I'm so tired. The last thing I want to do now is
jump into another.
Do you know what I mean? Jump into this. Do you know what I mean? I have stuff to do. It's just like, it's like constant. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, you have to get that. It has to get done. But that's something I really struggle with as well. Even with doing like the managing time, being exhausted from work, and then when you think after work, I want to be now doing activity or like talk to my friend, this that and that. No, it's just hard. But you know, we have to keep pushing. So
you have to think about the end goal. I feel like you just have to be motivated by where you want to get yourself, and you have to like care about nothing else. Like I had to make a lot of sacrifices, like again with my social life and my time. And I mean, it worked out.
No,
We're going to let to God be the glory. It works out, but it's hard.
You know what I mean? And I feel like God rewards, you know, hard efforts as well. Like when He sees you push, it's like trying as well. Because yes, He can just go, but He meets you halfway.
Exactly.
So like, we have to also prove ourselves to God that yes, we're worthy of what we want, essentially, and that we're gonna, when He does bless us, you know what I mean? We're gonna handle it well, yeah. Because one thing asking for something, and then when
you have to have the means to
actually that's great because like, everyone wants the first drop or whatever to be like just like amazing, like you sell out, do you know what I mean? This, that, and the third. That's great, but
when you put systems in place, that's what I mean.
When everything comes, do you know what I mean? Will you be able to handle it? Do you get it? Will you be able to deal with that? Do you get it? So I feel like as well as, you know, we want these things, we also need to be working and building ourselves to and put ourselves in the position to receive it. Do you know what I mean? And that's where, you know, we meet God halfway and He'll meet you there. No, literally. So we have to help ourselves, guys. You know, it's really hard, but there's a lot of things that discouragement, you know, all these things, you just have to rebuke it and then
we have to push for it anyway.
Yeah, push for it. You have to rebuke the negativity and push through. Like, it's not going to be easy, but, you know, we have to remember why we did. What is the why? What is the why?
We're doing this to begin with.
Do you know what I mean? So, how did you go from an idea to actually launching your brand?
Oh, I'd say, again, documenting my journey, it held me accountable. I feel like if I put out there in the world, I remember my first viral video, literally the first sentence was, I have 6 weeks to launch my fashion brand. Like, that was it. Like, I had decided within 6 weeks, regardless of what had happened, I needed to launch. And so if 6 weeks have passed and I hadn't put something out there, everyone's gonna be like, hey girl, like, where's what you promised us? So it's like putting yourself out there as well as being able to like document your journey and look back at it. It also holds you accountable.
Yeah, it's true because you have that like pressure as well. And pressure is needed. Pressure creates that.
The pressure is getting worse. It's actually getting worse, but you need it.
No, you actually need it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's such a good like method you use to hold yourself accountable, and it ultimately brought you your audience. You know what I mean? Because it is like when you work for yourself or you're doing stuff, you think you have all the time in the world.
Exactly.
And the day goes by and you've done nothing. So
exactly. Like, and you know you can't keep procrastinating because I feel like people misuse the word procrastinating. Like you procrastinate and leave like things to the last minute. It's not procrastinating if you never get around to it.
Yes.
Like if you just keep leaving it and you keep leaving it and you keep leaving it and you never actually get around to it, you're not procrastinating, you're avoiding. Like you're avoiding it and you will keep avoiding it and you will never get to where you actually want to get to.
No, literally. And I feel like everyone always thinks they have time, but no.
Exactly.
Yeah, time is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised.
Exactly, it's not promised.
You know what I mean? Like, we always have to today do something, even if it's small. Doing something small is better than nothing.
Exactly.
You know? That's what I'm telling myself as well. Like doing something small is better than nothing.
Small progress is better than no progress.
Literally, like, at least you're doing something. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like though people just have this doubt. Let's not pray completely. You need to pray. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. You need to pray. Listen, when you're scared, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you feel discouraged, pray. Like prayer will change everything. No, it will change the day. Do you know what I mean? Like just praying because. You know, in the Bible, it just says, seek ye the kingdom first. Exactly.
So that's what we need to be doing.
You have to seek God. You have to put Him in the center of everything.
Yeah, put Him in the center of everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, make sure He's involved because we can't do this by ourselves. Like, I'm telling you.
If we could do it by ourselves, we would have already done it. Of course we would. Like,
this is hard. It will break you into two. So.
It's hard.
It will break you into two. Especially if you're starting from scratch. You have, like, no one to push you up, no one to bounce off from doing it from scratch. Like.
I don't feel like people talk about the self-growth and the self-development it actually takes to be a business owner. Like, yes, you're growing your brand, but as your brand grows, you also need to grow alongside it. So if my brand is growing, that means I have to dedicate more time. If I'm not dedicating discipline alongside that, I'm not going to have the discipline to dedicate more time towards my business. I have to grow with my business, and if you aren't willing to grow, your business, you can't expect your business to grow.
It's true, and I have seen like people say that business is the ultimate form of character development. It really is. Because it's so glamorized starting a business, but the reality of it is
it's not so sweet
at all. It's not sweet at all. Do you know what I mean? It will break you. You will cry. You know, you feel like giving up, feeling like when you wake up feeling motivated, the motivation is squished by something.
Even the most successful business owners, I promise you, they cry at least once a day. No, I promise you're gonna have a mental breakdown.
She's doing a fashion clothing brand. The mental breakdown.
The deadlines, the customers, like
the manufacturers. Like, please, that's the biggest
issues.
Like, that is literally the biggest. I'm sorry, manufacturers literally they'll answer to their crimes one day. Like,
no, do you know what it is? Oh my gosh, I had like the worst experience with like my manufacturer, and they nearly broke up like entire relationship. Yes, like I had a really bad quality issue with like one of my batches, and I swear it really ended our relationship. But see, that's something that people never speak about.
Yeah, they never speak about. So like, what? How did you deal with that then?
So one, I had to pull them up on it. Like I had to let them, because there was a lot of complaints that I was receiving, and they need to be alerted to this. And then two, putting contracts in place. I feel like when you start off a fashion brand, you're not very knowledgeable about your rights and things that you need and systems you need to put in place. Put contracts in place. Hold them accountable for when they do make mistakes. But yeah, hold them accountable to their mistakes and to their issues, and then do all you can to rectify it as soon as possible. Like, the worst thing you need is to already be going through a problem and then to just drag it out the locker. Like, try to hold your manufacturer accountable and tackle the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. And contract is so important. That's something that I didn't do. Like, I don't know why I was so trusting at the start. And this is when it comes to Nike. You think that, because they're like, professional, this, that, and the third, that everything will be okay. No.
Professionals make mistakes.
No, literally, and it's like, with these manufacturers, they play with new small businesses. I mean, when you're not as knowledgeable, you don't know your rights, and you don't know this and the third. They play around, you get, and they ultimately get their way. So that's something that I did learn for like contracts. You need to be snapping people contracts.
To swallow.
No, honestly, it is. So you think you can trust people. Like, I was trying to like develop this like crochet knit dress I did. So I was working with a knit manufacturer that she has like not a manufacturer, like a girl that does sewing. And she's really, really good. So I kind of wanted her to make this like custom kind of this, that, and the third, and I was
You're very specific about
to try and make it different and stuff like that. Because I know sometimes fashion is impossible to completely how to make it stand out, make it my own. So that's what I did, and also she posted it on her page saying, "Oh, this is my set, and we're gonna be selling it. Like, just message me." And I was thinking,
excuse you. So you see intellectual property and things like those are things that you need to.
Do you know, I was literally so dumbfounded because I was just thinking, sorry, and then her experience was like, because she tagged me in, I tagged her in a picture, she thought that she could sell it. I was thinking,
that's a very big assumption to me.
No, that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? You know, I had the intention. I was literally talking the business side with her, speaking about, the stock, this, that, and the third, and how we're going to arrange it. So, for her to try to make it as if she's the one that did it, I thought that was crazy, but I made her take it down. And it ultimately kind of like dissolved that relationship. Because I was thinking, why would you do that? And I thought because I've used her before personally, that I can trust her with it. Do you get it? Then I sent her a contract. Oh, I don't want to sign the contract.
You see, all good manufacturers won't have issues with signing contracts. They won't mind
people that have good intentions.
Exactly.
People that have good intentions, like, they won't have an issue with signing this, that, and the third, but it just trying to show like good intentions. I mean, she wanted it for herself. Like, literally, she did have ulterior motives. She was just trying to do everything to avoid the same. She needed lawyers. She didn't have them. I said, I don't have lawyers myself. Like, I don't know if it is. Like,
you're not big corporations.
No, you get it. Like, I don't have lawyers myself. So the way she was skipping around and dancing around it, and it just shows that people are really bad mind. Like, you really have to protect yourself as much as you think that you can trust these people. You can't. You actually can't. So you just start them with the contract.
And especially like most of our manufacturers aren't even based in this country. Like you can't even really. It's not like you can just go and see their headquarters. You have to make sure you're protecting yourself as much as possible. You're never. Some people might don't even ever see their manufacturer. You need to establish some sort of middle ground or boundary that you can both be held accountable to.
No, literally, and they will take you more seriously.
Exactly.
When you like act seriously, do you know what I mean?
Professionalism.
And literally, some of it's due to lack of knowledge, but that's why I say experience is ultimately the best teacher. Because if you don't experience it, you will never know, and you'll never know the implications. So it's good in a way, do you know what I mean? Have you ever doubted yourself in this journey, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, I feel like self-doubt is something you experience all the time.
Yeah.
You just have to feel the fear and do it anyways. Like, you just have to, again, remember why you started. Remember that you have a purpose. God didn't put this on your heart for no reason. And like one of my favorite quotes is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So he will call you into a position, and in that position, you will then be qualified. So a lot of the times, you're never going to step into anything and feel like, I know it all. Yeah. You're always going to feel some level of discomfort, and you just have to feel that you're meant to do it anyways.
Yeah, this is kind of what we were talking about as well. It's just like, when God has called you to do something and put something on your heart, like he didn't give you these talent for no reason. Do you get it? Like there's other people that would pay thousands to get what you've been gifted for free. So we have to honour that. Do you know what I mean? In actually using it.
Exactly.
Blessing other people, and that's one thing we also need to recognise. Our talent is not just for ourselves; it's for others. It's for others. And we're working with clothes. Ultimately, you're making other people happy.
Yeah, adorning his creation.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're styling people, do you know, making them happy, and I feel like that's kind of why you have to remember and think deeper about your gift.
It's not just about you.
It's not just about you. Do you know what I mean? There's a bigger purpose, and your gift is tied to other people's destiny. So
exactly.
It's like we can't dishonor that by all of these things, and we have to just push forward. But having said that, it is really difficult because you have all of these forces that the devil is down.
Yeah,
trying to discourage you, putting down, making your journey 10 times harder, but you do have to push through, do you know what I mean? And you do have to be strong and steadfast and stand your ground because, ultimately, and then also, it's just like every good thing, do you know what I mean?
It doesn't come easy, exactly.
All those things don't come easy, so if you know your journey is a bit harder, a bit more challenging, it's usually an indication that, yes, you're on the right path.
It's something big.
Yeah, you're on the right path, so whatever's tied to what you're doing, it's going to be great. You know what I mean? Have to keep pushing, guys.
Exactly.
So, I know that there's a lot of, business owners that do tend to be very transparent. Like Amy Small, she always talks about how she funded her business and, even with, the owner of Fry London, I've seen her talk about.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah. And so, what would you say? How did you get to this point? Even financially to fund your business because I don't know cost of living
crisis because he lives.
Because he lives, kicking us up on the side. So, how would you say you got to this place where you could fund a business and make Renway to what it is now?
Honestly, mine's a bit unconventional as a lot of things I do. The way I went about, I would not advise anyone to do it. I mean, not unless you have a game plan. But honestly speaking, I sat down and meticulously planned everything I needed for Renway, and basically I totaled the cost, and it was around £3,000, right? And I was like, okay. I was working full time. I was making a decent amount. I was like, I could save for a couple months and I could, fund my brand. But I didn't want to do that. I'm just going to max out my credit card.
No, I hear it.
I'm just going to max out my credit card. And that was essentially how I funded my business. I literally maxed out my credit card. I paid for my photo shoot. I paid for my stock. I got my models, got everything, got my photographer. And I literally remember the month that I decided to do it. Everyone was asking me, so what are you going to do if you've now maxed out your credit card and it doesn't work? And I just remember saying to myself, I'm going to keep feeling until I get right. I don't care. I was kind of I have put myself in the deep end on purpose. Like the pressure.
The pressure is getting worse.
Yeah, the pressure. And I remember when I first got my stock, I remember I put it on my Snapchat story and I was like, does anyone want a set before like I, put it out on my website? And literally nobody asked me for a set. And I was like, damn, have I made a mistake? Like, am I doing this right? But don't stay 30 minutes, I made £8,000.
What? What did you do it?
So I made it back and it all worked out. But yeah, that was like literally full transparency. I literally just worked out my credit card.
And I'm thankful that you are transparent because there's a lot of people that kind of like money is a big factor. They do want to do these things, but it's like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Do you know what I mean? And I do think it's like inspiring when, designers are transparent because it's not easy.
People want to know, and I want like, especially like in the fashion community, unless you make like t-shirts, there's not a lot of representation for you, like or like role models or people that you can actually look up to and ask these questions.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do the design dialogues because I feel like it's so vast. When I'm starting, you will look at all these designers, you know what I mean, and then just start. No,
it's not that simple.
It's not that simple, and I'm just tired. Like, I'm like, listen, just start. Just start.
What do I do? I need the steps to get myself there.
Do you know what I mean? It's just more than just starting. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to think about than just starting. I do agree. Don't let life limit you starting because in starting you can find blessings to help them along the way. But you need to be thinking and be wise about
about the way. What if it didn't work out? I would have been £3,000 and then what? And then I would have been having to work that and pay that off as well. So obviously make calculated decisions.
Yeah, you have to be smart with just starting. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to think and you don't have to rush and launch. Like just starting, you can just be sampling. You can be figuring out how am I going to get this? How much is this cost? I've raised the money. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I think everyone needs to be smart about just starting. Yeah. Literally, but I feel like why it worked for you because you already had a game plan. Do you know what I mean? You're already working. You've already when you release your t-shirts first, you saw that.
I'm already failed. You have that. Failing is an essential part of the journey as well. You have to fail to be able to get it right. Like
almost all our faves have failed several times before they got that jackpot. So it's like failure is just it's character building. We all like it easy. It's simple.
But you learn nothing for when it's easy. You literally learn nothing.
No, honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like mistakes in this journey is so valuable because it's like what you get from it, you can't pay.
Nobody could sit you down and teach you what you would have learned from it.
Honestly, and I feel like even I've learned so much through the mistakes and the challenges I've been through, and I feel like now each job I'm better, more knowledgeable. I know what to do. I know not what to do. Do you know what I mean? I know what I should be, expecting. Do you get it? So I feel like it's just such an imperative part of the journey. So even if you do fail, don't be discouraged. You know what I mean? You just need to do that and it will help. Do you know what I mean? It will help build you to who you want to be. And that's the thing, it really does help, mold you into such a better person, especially
in business. You've got so much resilience as well. A lot of the things that I used to lose sleep over, they don't even faze me anymore. I've lived through it. I didn't die. So the world isn't going to end.
Literally, that's so real. I didn't die because, in the moment you feel like you're going to die. One thing goes wrong, you'll be crying. You want to be pulling out your hair.
Exactly. You're like, what am I going to get myself out of this? Girl, you've lived through worse. You'll be fine. Go to sleep.
Get that sleep, girl.
Go to sleep. Take it out. Take it out. And when you wake up, pray. I promise you,
you'll be fine. And sometimes all you need to do is sleep. Wake up, think, okay, how am I going to get through this journey? Exactly. That's all. I think I'm so dramatic as human beings. The things that we put ourselves through, and I'm sure God must be laughing at us.
I know.
Literally, we access to the end of the world, but it really isn't.
It really isn't. It's just in the journey.
Literally. How do you market yourself and get your design seen? So now you've had a successful job. How are you going to keep the momentum up? What is your style? How do you think you're going to be okay, cool, this is what people are going to do. How am I going to, especially change your designs? How are you going to keep it up? That's another ball game to keep up
the momentum. I feel like learning more and more about your target audience is imperative to keep the momentum up. Because usually, when you're starting out a fashion brand, if you're lucky, you will gain a lot of traction quickly without mainly being content. You go on the blog. But after that, like, initial rush dies down, you have to be able to consistently communicate to your audience, and you can't do that if you don't know who they are, what their pain points, what their motivators are. So, like, learning about your target audience, learning how to talk to them, I feel like is how you keep the momentum going and you keep them interested.
Yeah, that's true. And it's too early in the journey to let people forget about you.
Exactly.
So you have to make it okay.
And be loud, take up space. I feel like a lot of, I don't know, I look at like a lot of brands, and even like when I'm talking to a lot of my mentees as well, everyone's so shy and everyone's so like, oh, but I don't want, no, be loud, take up space. That's how you're able to be seen. You know what I mean? That's how you're able to be seen. I didn't put myself out there by being shy. I put myself out there by being really controversial, being really outspoken, being really bold. And I feel like, yeah, just take up space. That's how you stay relevant.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, the shy part is something that I struggle with, like, because, you know, I don't know, it's just like, oh, I don't want to really talk, no, but now I'm getting out of that, because, you know.
Shyness is a thing that you have to over. I feel like I'm naturally shy, by nature. But I feel like that's why Renway to me was more like a person. She was more so like the person I wanted to be like. And the more that my brand grew, the more I actually molded into that person. So now I'm way more outspoken. Now I'm not as shy. So it's like, yeah, just take off shyness.
No, I hear it, because you have to demand their attention. Like, all these brands, PLT will be texting you as if you...
They're texting you like they paid the phone bill for you. They're texting you at 1 a.m. Do you think they care? Audacity is their middle name.
No, PLT will be texting you like...
Exactly. You think they're shy. Fashion over.
Fashion over.
I don't see anything else on my Instagram feed.
Yeah.
It's just fashion over, fashion over, fashion over.
Even like literally the flash show, even the market, the influencers they use.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You will not.
So if they're not shy, why are you?
They're not biased, and that's the thing, because I feel like sometimes people think they're being overbearing or cringe because they're basically demanding attention. Mm-hmm. But that's ultimately
you'll never be cringe to people that you resonate with. Like, you know what I mean? People, there's always someone out there that will resonate with your energy, that will resonate with your story, your purpose. Be as loud as you can so those people can find you, because they're out there. They just don't know you exist.
That's what I mean. Like, your audience is out there. There's what 8 million plus people in this world. Are you telling me like there's not out that 8 million?
You can't find the few to resonate with. Oh, of course you can. Just put yourself.
No, honestly, out of that 8 million, I'm sure there's 100. However many your stock is, that are willing to buy it. They just haven't seen you yet. They haven't found you yet, and they're looking for you. Do you know what I mean? So we just have to bear that in mind. That's something I'm learning as well, because I'm very shy by nature. But it's been this social media thing has been a battle for me.
Really, right?
Because I just find it like uncomfortable to be like, oh, da da da, or like just even sitting in the camera in front by myself. I don't know.
Sometimes it's like I'm really talking to like.
No, I just find it, I don't know what it is, I just find it uncomfortable, do you know what I mean? But I'm pushing past it, and as the more you do it, the more, you get out of it. But now I'm a bit more okay now. But yeah. Right, so what would you say has been the most unexpected lesson you've learned about entrepreneurship?
Unexpected lesson. That when you're a business owner, regardless of what happens, you're always going to be held accountable. Like, that you have to take responsibility, even when it's not your fault. Even when you try to find other ways, even when you thought you covered all. If something goes wrong, it's on your hands. And like, the moment you accept that and deal with it and just act accordingly, life gets a lot better. But I feel like a lot of the times, when things went wrong, I was always like, when it wasn't my fault, I would always try to be like, oh, but I did this, and people don't care. Like, all people care about is what happened and the result, and just taking accountability for everything that happens.
Do you feel like that as well? Like, especially being like back in the UK, they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to give them something to be afraid.
Listen,
whatever it's called. They're waiting for you.
They're waiting to make that TikTok video.
They're waiting to make that TikTok video on how this, that, and the third. So never give them a reason, guys.
Don't give them a reason to you.
Yeah, and I feel like also like being transparent with your audience kind of prevents such things, because if you let them know, okay, this is what's happening, and then they turn it from this way, then people can understand that.
They're more graceful, yeah.
They're not great. There's no grace in this UK now. They're waiting for you to slip up. Yeah, they're waiting for you to become their content to make their videos. So.
The amount of death threats I've got. Yes.
You know,
yeah,
this help is
you'd be
needed.
so shocked. You
Like,
would actually be so
I've
shocked.
realised, yeah, people actually have mental health issues. Sending someone death threats because of a
help.
skirt is insane.
Insane.
Thank God.
Please. But yeah, like, this is what I mean. Like, regardless of what happens, people always gonna blame me. So.
But death threats is crazy.
No, it definitely is.
Because of what? Like, because of a skirt?
Yes.
You guys need help. Like, serious help.
This is a poor.
Serious help is needed. Like, what do you mean?
Girl, I wish I was joking. Yeah.
So how did you like manage that? 'Cause I'm sure that might affect you as well. Even death threats because of clothes. It's...
Do you know what it is? Funnily enough, I feel like now, you know what I said about you build a resistance towards things? Yeah. Now I look at those and I'm just like, oh, okay, sorry girl. Like, I just laugh at like, you know, like, now I just laugh to myself. Like, of course I'm professional in my reply, but like, to myself, it doesn't really affect me anymore. But I feel like when I was first starting out, it really, really used to get to me. So like, I'm such a people pleaser to my core. So like all my customers, whenever like there's something that's like off even in the slightest, I will try and go out my way to rectify it. And like when you feel like you've done all that you can and sometimes people still aren't happy, it's really disheartening and it really like breaks your spirit. But you just have to push past it regardless, and you can't come and die. Like
actually, you can't come and go. I feel like people just want to complain about anything. And like I said, there's no grace. You know what I mean? Especially starting out, it is quite hard. Like, you're just new to this business game or like moving that game, and people just don't have that level of compassion. You know what I mean? Or understanding. Like, hey, I'm new to this too.
Give me a break. Like, give me I'm telling you, my first batch of orders, the girlies there was so understanding. I feel like that's why I always like. I know people always have a connection to like their customers or whatever, but like, I honestly see like the Renway girls as like my little family, like my little community. Like they had so much grace for me when like a whole batch of my parcels went missing and they were stolen. They had so much grace for me when I had to do quality issues. They had so like building a connection with your customers and having that friendship sort of it really does help.
Yeah, community is so important. You know what I mean? Whether it be your friends, family, customers, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, you need a community to generate success anyway. So it is having that, you know, supportive community is really, really helpful. Like, and it can make it a bit easier because obviously nobody wants to upset their customers. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's just like dealing with like people stolen parcels, like that's a nightmare. I personally think the way I would break down, like everyone will think me. Everyone was
no, I did, but I had so many breakdowns. Like I'm telling you, my boyfriend got me through that. Like literally, my boyfriend and God. Like I had to go with it a lot.
That's a lot. Someone stealing your parcel. I just asked everyone mad. Like the way, no, even a hurricane wouldn't be able to like stop me.
Yeah.
What do you mean you stolen my parcels? But this is the real honesty of like, you know, what happens behind business. You know what I mean? If not your parcel delayed, you know, someone stole your parcel, especially when you gain traction. And that's the thing, like. When you do get that success that you want, or like
you have to have built systems.
Like these stuff do happen. People are opportunists. You know what I mean? You need to know what you're dealing with and how to handle it. You get it? Because yes, it's so nice having a successful job, but then comes the vultures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The vultures, the annual apprentices. That's when this ones start happening. That's when start happening. And then I think that also highlights that there is beauty in the journey. Like, even if it's a steady pace that you're building, it is good because you're preparing yourself to, you know, be able to handle that.
Exactly. I feel like growing at a steady pace is actually better than just spiking and going viral. Because I feel like when you like go viral and you have a big surge in orders, you have to run about and get yourself ready. So like if you're used to shipping out 100 orders a week, but now you're getting 100 order days, you're having to now run about and find ways to, whereas if it was growing steadily, you built those systems gradually. But I feel like nobody wants steady growth, everyone wants instant virality, but nobody's really able to handle that.
It's true, like that's the things you have to think about, like, are you ready for what you're ready for, like what you want deep down. So, and I feel like people that do want to start brands, there's like, shouldn't be discouraged, you know, that, you know, okay, the first thing you drop didn't sell out. Okay, just learn from
What could you have done better?
Yeah, what could you have done? How could you have marketed? And then just keep learning and keep growing. I feel like that it happened a lot, do you know what I mean? And often enough, when a brand owner does get it right, they've had a few failed projects beforehand.
Exactly.
So just because their new project that you've just discovered,
that you just,
like, has gone well,
nobody's posting about their failures.
no, literally, and do you know what I mean? And they've had failed projects before then, do you know what I mean? They've had things that just didn't work out, and that's how they're able to get a successful job, do you get it? So just never be disheartened. No one's on social media come to tell you I failed 5 times. No, but it's true, like, this is the one that I've gotten right, do you get it? They're going to say, oh, I just launched this brand 2 days ago, and I've only got 100k sales. That's what they're going to
That's what they're going to show. Exactly.
They're not going to tell you before that. They have failed so many
They've invested probably £100 worth of investment and they've
wasted thousands, they've wasted tens of thousands even before even having this success. So just don't let social media consume you, do you get? Because people aren't honest, do you know what I mean? Or not fully honest. And fair enough, everybody doesn't have to tell you the failures, do you get? But yeah, just bear that in mind. How do you handle pricing and making your brand profitable?
I feel like with pricing, I have a rule where it's like what I'm selling, like the retail price, has to be 3 times more than what it cost me to make it. And the reason why I do this is because most often than not, when you're starting out a brand, you're not gonna have all of the capital to pay for stock. So most people are gonna do the pre-order method. And the reason why the pre-order method has a stigma is because there's long wait times. Sometimes it doesn't work. This is just my guarantee. Like, if I know, I don't know, let's say my stock is 5,000 and I'm selling pieces for like 200, I need to get a certain amount of sales to be able to pay for my entire stock, rather than pricing my retail lower. And then it takes more time for me to actually be able to order the stock. Yeah. So when it comes to pricing, I just have to make sure I'm able to guarantee payment, time frames as well. And yeah, essentially that's
I get that.
And then also look at your competitors as well. Like, you can look at the market and gauge roundabout what your pricing should be. If your competitors are selling 2 pieces for £100, if there's absolutely nothing special or nothing different, you shouldn't be selling over £100.
Yeah, I just think that. I think some prices are crazy, but I do, especially being in the business, I do understand why prices the way they are, because it is really expensive. Yeah. Especially if you want quality items, you have to spend a lot of money, do you know what I mean? So obviously, you do want to have a thing where, you have to inflate the price 3 times. So at least you have money for your business, and then money for your latest stock, do you know what I mean? Or whatever you're designing, samples. So I do think that, and I have heard that, especially, I can't remember who said it, but they divide their money into 3, so they have a bank account for business, at least they can start generating their business income, a bank account for samples and new things, do you know what I mean? So, when they want to start designing, at least there's money there, and then one for them, I guess, or I guess if you have staff, so then you can kind of divide the money,
and stuff,
that way, so, yeah. So how do you deal with the competition in the fashion industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like my biggest selling point also is my community. I feel like my goal isn't necessarily to be the biggest fashion brand or to be the most sold. I feel like there's other people, bigger budgets, bigger teams, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That have been doing it for way longer. So I'm not necessarily my goal is to be the biggest. It's also to resonate the most of my community. If you have a community of 5,000, every single one of them resonates with me. I feel like, to me, that's better than if you have a community of 10,000 and only 2% of those people resonate with me. So I feel like just building my community, showing up for them, representing them, and
yeah, I guess that. I think that's a good response as well, because I feel like sometimes we're all on the big mistake. Yeah, isn't it?
Exactly.
All this, do you know what I mean? But it takes time. Even brands like Chanel, Louis Vuitton, it's taken a lot of time for them to.
Exactly, they're 100 years old. Because even if you're comparing yourself to other new brands, they've been doing this for a while. I started my brand for a year. If you started your brand now, I would have a year more in experience than you. There's people that have started their brand 5 years ago. They have 5 years more experience than you. So it's comparing yourself to people of that level, it's never gonna do anything.
That doesn't work. That doesn't help you in any shape or form. And as I said, comparison is the thief of joy.
Exactly.
And you have to also remember this game, everyone honest. People kind of manipulate social media to get that traction.
Exactly.
So you just can't look at that. No, literally, I literally saw a guy that's saying that for his jobs, he doesn't even sell out all the stock. He just sells out part of the stock. The makeups we sold out.
Oh yeah, and then remarket them and you see,
And that's what I was thinking, oh my gosh, that.
That's so, but you know what? It's so funny, but it works.
It works, yeah, because people now think, oh my gosh,
it sold out
so quickly, like, do you know what I mean? So it's a form of manipulation, but it's just to gain.
Yeah, just to gain. And do you know what it is? I feel like this is actually, it sounds unethical, but sometimes you actually have to think outside the box like that. Because as a business owner, if you've ordered, I don't know, a bunch of stock and it's not selling out, you can think about, okay, am I going to sit on this or am I going to find another way to remarket it? Then people actually do notice it and it does sell out. And you see what I mean? It's like, you have to think of unconventional ways sometimes to, and I feel like that was more the moment you start thinking like that.
That's when.
Yeah, that's when things actually start to change.
No, literally, it's true. And I remember I watched Women's Wear, and they said that the thing they did, because they started in uni time.
Yeah.
So they said they were standing in Oxford Street with like some like big poster or something like that, walking up and down, saying about their brand. But then they kind of put themselves out that way. That might not be for everyone, but.
Yeah, but you see, you have to do something outlandish. Like, even me, I gained traction from like my sets, but then I had like another surge in orders when I was calling out other fast fashion brands that were copying my design.
Yeah.
And so that was, do you see what I mean? I had to do something unconventional. It was like drawing traction to my competitors. That doesn't seem wise, but taking that bold step and doing something really like, did you really just do that? That's what's actually going to put your brand.
People love a bit of
controversy. Exactly, people love the drama.
Yeah, so like doing that, even though it's not like fun, because people are profiting off like your life work. But essentially, people love the drama, people love that, and then they will actually defend you and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it does help. And like, how did you like deal with that? Like, bigger brands copying your designs?
Funnily enough, I actually wasn't aware of it. It was actually like the Renway girls that were they kept sending it in and they were like, I don't count that out them. It was like, one of them was like Shein, another one was, I can't remember, I honestly can't remember, but it was like these Chinese small websites or whatever, and it was like AliExpress as well. And so yeah, I just kept getting links in my DMs all the time. I kept getting like tagged and posts when they post it. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're actually selling my designs. And then I remember TikTok shops started selling my designs as well. And then yeah, that was when I had reached my boiling point and I was like, no, do you know what? Everyone's seen it anyways, I'm getting tagged in it. I'm gonna address it. So then that's when I created like a series of videos of where like I bought the fake and then I compared it to like the original. And so I was showing like the quality and how they're profiting off of my designs and like all of those videos went viral. And yeah, so I feel like you just have to be able to like take a bad situation and turn it into something that's beneficial for you.
Yeah, and that's good. Like that's like with AliExpress though. People always talk about like fashion load or guilty, but AliExpress is more detrimental in my opinion because a lot of small businesses like instant boutiques they buy from AliExpress.
And then they just put their logo on it.
Their logo on it. So I feel like that's more detrimental in my opinion. I don't hear much people say that. Even down the TikTok shop, they're buying stuff off AliExpress, Alibaba,
and just
so it's like that is.
I feel like it's kind of watering down like the fashion community. Like when people talk about I'm a fashion brand owner, I'm a fashion designer. Again, no shade to everyone. Get your money and get how you live. But like I'm so disappointed when people are like, I'm a fashion brand owner. I'm like, oh my gosh, like let me see, and then it's like the same 2-piece with their logo slapped on it. And I'm like, so all you did is design the logo because everything else was already designed for you. And I get so disappointed by that. Like, where's your creativity?
It's just how I feel about, people coming out, they're selling t-shirt, they slap a logo on it. Like, I feel like fashion is more than a t-shirt. It's more than because after, I just going to sell t-shirts for the duration of your career. Like,
that's what I said. It's a canon event. You have to go through that before you decide you want something more.
No, honestly, and I feel like, it's kind of like a lazy way of doing things. There's so many even if you haven't got inspiration, the world is the inspiration.
I do.
You know,
you don't have to know how to draw. You can hire designers on Fiverr. Literally, like you don't have to have it off the dome. You can go on Pinterest and create a mood board. Like there's no. I feel like with the day and age we live in, there's no excuse for not being creative. We're exposed to so many different things. We have inspiration is everywhere.
Everywhere. It's not online. It's outside. Like exactly. Inspiration. I get touch grass. No, literally, that's true. And I feel like fashion is yes, of course we need a t-shirt, but we need more than a t-shirt.
I'm gonna wear it as pajamas. I'm gonna like no matter how hard your t-shirt is, they're gonna turn into pajamas. Like I promise. I promise.
But every t-shirt that everyone has,
they wouldn't tie exactly.
They turn into pajamas. Like, you don't want that for yourself.
Exactly.
And do you know what it is? I saw on TikTok like how creators were basically saying that nobody wants to basically create this thing. Nobody wants to be able to.
Yeah, everybody just wants to keep copying and copying and regurgitating the same thing.
But at the same time, I do get on the flip side, it's like people don't respect originality at times.
Yeah, they do.
People don't until it's popping. Like people like literally until it's cool or it's popping, people don't respect or regard someone that's actually stepping out.
But then you have to figure out what you value more, because you can just jump on trends and you can have no originality and you can just keep regurgitating. And yes, you might go viral, but in terms of like longevity, you're not gonna last very long. Or you could be authentic and you can be yourself. And cool, you might not go viral instantly, but in the long run, you're actually building a community of people that actually resonate with you. So, do you want short-term success or long-term?
And that's something that you need to ask yourself. I do agree though, because I feel like people just want to copy what everyone else is doing, and I understand that to a degree. But then at the same time, if you want people to respect your work, you're coming out and say, "Yeah, I'm a fashion brand or I'm an owner." You need to do something that is original. Do you know what I mean? You need to create stuff that's from your own brain. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to let the creativity flow through you and make that design, not just because someone saw a t-shirt but slapped the logo. Like, no, that's just not how it works. Of course, you can have casual collections, that's not what I'm saying, but I feel like you need to think outside the box and just get with the program. Like, think bigger than what is presented to you.
You fall into that trap when you're not driven with purpose. Like when you just look at something and you're like, I like it. You don't really know why you like it. You just know that you like it and you're like, cool, I'm gonna take everything and what it's done for and plug it on. That you literally are moving with no intention and no purpose. Like when you have a purpose in mind, you will look at something and you will admire it, and then you'll figure out the components of it that you resonate with, and then you take them and incorporate into something that's actually.
Because I feel like there's some people that do like launch and they just launch it because they think it's a quick money grab.
Yeah.
Not because they actually have the passion, the desire, and people can actually tell. So
yeah, you can tell.
You can tell.
I look at certain fashion brands and I'm like, yeah, you're a founder. Like, there's a couple of fashion brands I can say, like Benny Girls. Their founders, you can tell they care for their brands. Nvidia, her founder, like she is amazing. Like those are like brands I look at and I'm like, that is so like specifically created. I can see that you guys are passionate about what you're creating. Like High Collection, that's another one. Like, all of her pieces are so like meticulously planned that you can tell when founders are actually putting their heart and their soul.
No, honestly, you can really tell. So just be mindful of that. So, what is your advice for someone struggling to get their first customers? Because there are some brands that have been around for, let's say, a few years, but they just can't seem to build that community. They can't seem to have those successful drops. They might have released like 3 drops, and they might have got sales. There's nothing like profound. So, someone that has kind of been good with social media, like, what would you say? What would you advise them?
I'd say first, probably work on like your foundational works, like your branding. That includes like how you're showing up, your tone of voice, your brand persona, your target audience, your look, your slogan, your brand colors. All of those things are important. They build or they add to this perception that people are going to have of your brand. You can have amazing products, but if people perceive your brand to be of poor quality, unreliable, unethical, people aren't going to buy it from you. So you have to work on the branding. before anything. And then you move on to the marketing, which I feel like is the fun part, what everyone focuses on. But yeah, you move on to the marketing. That's you figured out who your target audience is. Marketing is how you communicate to them. You need to figure out how to get their attention, how to hook their attention, how to stay relevant, how to always be at the forefront of their minds. So I feel like if you're struggling to get your first customer and you've been doing this for a while, you probably need to go back and work on your branding. If you've just started, I feel like you can't really work on your branding yet. So
Just started.
yeah, you just like give yourself time, give yourself grace. And then aside from that as well, I'd probably say get yourself the right resources. I feel like starting a fashion brand is not as easy as just designing clothes and saying I want to launch. Go back and figure out how to build a business. Go and you know what I mean. Go and figure that out. Go read some books. I know people hate ebooks, but there's a couple of ebooks that I've read that have actually been good. Go read the ebooks. Go find yourself a mentor. If there's any advice I can give you, go find yourself a mentor if you're really struggling. Yeah.
But I feel like though that's kind of hard though. I feel like in the UK, you message someone on Instagram or you see them and then you might not know the songs.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? You can message them and you go, some people are nice and I feel like I've spoken to them that are very nice. Then on the flip side, there's people you will just not get reception.
Do you know what? I feel like it all depends on how you
position yourself well.
Yeah, exactly. It all depends on how you position yourself.
Yeah, you have to position yourself well because it's nice to say that, but some people do want to like reach out and do that, but they're not always gonna get.
But the thing is that comes with anything. Like you can't reach out to somebody with the intention of them replying. You don't have that guarantee. But that's why you put yourself out. If they don't reply, then they don't reply. But if they do, you have somebody that's like very experienced, that's willing to guide you. Like you have absolutely nothing to lose.
Just take the leap of faith.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose. And I feel like I don't know. I won't necessarily speak for everyone, but people are a lot more willing than you would believe. I've had people message me all the time about fashion. That was actually how I got into mentoring and why I created an ebook and all of that. Because people were so, and I literally got tired of having to like send the information. Because one thing about me, I want everyone to feel free. If you ever have a question, you can message me. I am so open. Like, yeah, I'm so. I don't get why, because we're trying to help one another.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I love that for you. Like, I really like, you know, I think it's really good to always like open and give back and ask questions, but not everyone is like that.
Not everyone is like, yeah, unfortunately.
Like, you know, you are one of probably very few nice ones that will do it, you get it, but not everyone's gonna actually get it. So you just have to just try and then also try different people, I would say. And I feel like, okay, if you don't get one response from another person, then it's just not the culture.
It's kind of like applying for a job. You don't apply for one job and say, I'm going to get it. You apply for like 100 and then you get one. I feel like we want it to like finding yourself from.
Yeah, or like just speaking to someone. But some of them do actually reply, because I know I've messaged some designers and they are responsive, do you know what I mean? Regardless. So just kind of, you know, just try your luck. You get the response, you know. And sometimes it's not personal, it's just timing.
Yeah, so
successful like brands, they might not even see it for starters.
Yeah.
They might even have a deal with demand, you know what I mean, overwhelmed, and it's never really personal. So sometimes just don't take things personally. I just know that, because I'm sure you bump into them, they'll just be like, oh my god, I didn't see that. So it's just like more of that, what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
No, even beyond that, because a lot of the times like I'll get.
Sometimes just don't take things personally. I just know that, because I'm sure you bump into them, they'll just be like, oh my god, I didn't see that. So it's just like more of that, what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
No, even beyond that, because a lot of the times like I'll get a DM, someone's asking about like a fashion brand. I might get around to it a month later, but I promise you I'm gonna get around to it. I'm gonna get around to it. I might take a while, but I will get around to it.
People are not backgrounders, you know. That's me. Yeah, it's not personal. They just have a lot to as well. So yeah. So back to Renway. So how would you describe your design style in 3 words?
Oh, my design style. Yeah. Bold, audacious, and daring.
I like that. I love that. And so, what would you say your creative process is like when designing new collections?
I feel like I'm very sporadic. I'll look at something, I will like fall in love with it, and then I'll try to like I said, analyze and pick what about it I like. Because one thing about me, I'm afraid of copying someone else, or like I'm afraid of being similar. So like even when I first started out my brand, a lot of people were like comparing me to like this other really big fashion brand at the time. I'm not gonna say that, but
I feel like I can.
yeah, everyone can. You can.
Yeah, I feel like no.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And like. I really hated that because when I was first starting out, I was really trying to not be the same. And so, yeah, I always look at things that I like and then I always try to pick details about it that I like. And then I'll probably create like a mood board, figure out a silhouette, and then combine the two, like combine the mood board plus like the elements that I like. And then we have to go through sampling, which is.
This is what.
Then we have to go through sampling, and yeah, that makes or breaks.
Yeah, that. Do you know what it is? Yeah, because of these manufacturers,
Mm-hmm.
they'll answer to their crimes one day.
But even aside from the manufacturers as well, I feel like sampling as well was just a really. I feel like, especially when you're self-taught, because I'm like, I didn't go to fashion school, or I don't have like education, fashion-based knowledge. But when you're like self-taught and you're having to learn things yourself, like you have to learn things like how to grade clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
You have to figure that out by yourself, and you only figure that out through trial and error and sampling. And sometimes the manufacturer might get the sample exactly like how you wanted it for your measurements. So that's something you need to take up with yourself.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, you just have to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's not always their fault. But
But a lot of the time, a lot of the time.
A lot of the time. It is that, and I feel like they really, really will take you
Play in your face, yeah. They'll
They
play
will
in your
really
face.
take you there. You know, and I'm just like, I'm just No, it's true, but I feel like, to see me, you can be as clear as day, yeah.
Yeah,
You can be as transparent as, you know, a dumb person can, you know, would like to hear, but they still will do things because they want the money. I just think they mess up intentionally. That's what I'm saying, like, because they want the money.
The money.
Like, some of them, not all of them. Like, you know, they do, I think they just mess up. Like, with sampling as well. Oh, they just see it.
But do you pay up front? Is that enough?
What, sampling?
Yeah.
Yeah, with sampling, I usually pay before.
Yeah, see, no, girl. Pay half up front and then the other half before they shipped it out. So then if there's any errors within the samples, you can, yeah.
Because what kind of how is it just say, okay, just pay for the sample before they start working on it? But then when it comes to bulk, that's when I do the payment, yeah.
Oh no, I do the fake thing. You can get this. Ironically enough, when I used to get samples, I used to pay for it all at once. And that's when my samples used to come out. Like the Reni ribbed skirt suit, which was my first ever piece. It took me 3 samples.
Yeah.
Well, 3 samples from one manufacturer. I actually got samples from 2 different manufacturers at first. But yeah, it took 3 samples from one manufacturer to get it right. And then afterwards, when I started doing the half up front, it takes me like 2 maximum. Yeah. Like literally 2 maximum.
I'm gonna start doing that because
yes, because they will play it in your face.
They're literally, anyways. I'm not going to get the vibe what I'm trying to say. So, how do you source materials and choose manufacturers? Because a big question I see all the time is, how do you find a manufacturer? How do you find a manufacturer? And literally, everyone's always like, well, how do you do this? Oh, how do you find an illustrator? So, like, how did you choose your manufacturers?
Okay, well, in terms of, like, my manufacturer, like, remember what I said just now, I had 2 different manufacturers I was working with. I literally batch messaged, like, probably 500 manufacturers within a couple of months. Like, no exaggeration. I messaged a whole lot of manufacturers. And I sent them the exact same thing, the exact same tech pack, the exact same description. And then I literally created a spreadsheet. I literally created a spreadsheet of like all of their prices, production time frame, the cost, whatever. And then I narrowed that down to about 3, narrowed that down to 2, and then literally got 2 samples from both of those manufacturers. And then obviously analyzing the quality of the material, the fit, craftsmanship, that was how I chose my manufacturer. In terms of like my fabric, it kind of depends on the collection, because even like I'm working on a new collection which is supposed to be coming around autumn. That's a whole different fabric within itself, and I'm having to use a separate manufacturer solely for the fabric, and then I'm having to ship that over. to then my production manufacturers and then have it made. So I feel like it depends on the project, but just always try out as many manufacturers as possible. I feel like when you just message a few and you just pick sporadically, you're never gonna get the best of what is out there. So definitely try as many options as you can.
And even I feel like when I started, I didn't know even where to look. But I feel like when the only time I kind of knew where to look was when I know like for another, which was like Alibaba. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I feel like everyone gets their manufacturers off of Alibaba.
Yeah, I feel like most people do. Do you know what I mean? I'm working under these strategies, but. Like, so I'm like, when I started, I had no idea. Like, Alibaba was like, where people found from.
Really? I kind of found, funnily enough, I found out about Alibaba. I remember when I was creating my Renway, I literally typed in like a real 2P30 or something like that on Google, and then I literally typed in manufacturers, and then it literally came up with like a bunch of different websites. Alibaba was one of them, and then I literally saw, and then I chose the manufacturers with like products that were already similar to what I was trying to create, and then that was how I kind of like fell into Alibaba.
Yeah, that's how you kind of narrow it down. So you can be like, if you want to make like a mesh set, like manufacturers that do mesh or like mesh manufacturers, or if you want to wear like denim manufacturers, and that's kind of how you will find the specific ones. You know what I mean?
The thing is, it sounds simple, but like you type in denim and then there'll be like 20,000 manufacturers.
That's what I'm saying. That's where the like complications come in. Where do you even look? Do you get? And some of the pieces they have, they're not even there. Like,
they're not even there, and then some of their minimum order quantities are like
500.
You don't need 500 in like one piece, and what like it honestly took me a couple months to find my manufacturer, and to be fair, it was worth it. Like, it was worth it. Don't get me wrong, they definitely give me my headache sometimes, but in comparison to what's out there, honestly, beside
that's important. That's something that I really want. I just want to find one manufacturer that can build a relationship, like longevity. They get with me, I get them. That's something that I'm kind of living in sample stages again. That's something that I really want. I just can't deal with the headache. At least if they get, obviously it's not going to be smooth sailing just because you get along. Or they get you. Some things are going to come up, but at least we can work together. They can understand on why I say on together.
Yeah, and there's a level of like
the trust that
and if they mess up, they're willing to rectify the
because there's some people that mess up. Like I'll never forget this. Like a stupid manufacturer, they messed up my top share and they wanted me to pay again. I said, "There's no way that I'm paying. You're not." And I ended up getting free because there's no way that I'm gonna pay for your mistake. When I told you,
but they're going to try and milk as much out of you as you allow them to.
Yeah, because I was putting up a fight. It took me a good few months for them to finally agree. I think it's not stern words.
Sometimes they need it.
I'm stern words. And they're like, okay, we'll do this one for free. But then they're like, in the other one, I didn't even ask them to do that one, but we'll just mainly this one. Because I could also fix the other ones. You know what I mean? Just more.
But see, that level of compromise,
but it's just like this one. I had to fight to get it done again for free because I couldn't believe it. Because when I sent out a package. They was telling me this, and I said, "Oh, like, how is that happening?" And I went to look deeper. Then I said, "These people, do you know what I mean? Like everything that I said, they just didn't listen and did what they wanted to do." And
they took creative control.
Yeah.
And don't do that with my dad.
Oh, that's the thing. I hate when they do that. You will send them a design. They say, "Oh, it should be this way." Is it you that's the designer? Or is it me that's the designer? Like, how can you tell me how I should do what I want this way? Like, unless it's actually beneficial to my side, don't be telling me I should make the sign this way. Like, then that's what they kind of did as well. They tried to take creative control. I don't want you to do that. I want you
to do it exactly how I want to.
They just...
No, that's crazy.
That's absolutely crazy. They're very mad, honestly. So you'll find your people one day. So, like, how do you balance creativity and business strategy? Creativity is not enough. Like, that's something that, everyone needs to kind of realize. You can have the best creative, like, talent, but, if you don't have... If you're not business savvy, I would say, then you're just not going to go far, unfortunately. But you need to, like, kind of learn, how have that business knowledge. So how would you say you balance being creative but with business strategy?
I feel like I'm also creative when it comes to like experimental work. So like with like my marketing, I'll put out as much content as possible just to see what works. And then I'll analyze the data. What's done the best? What has the highest retention? What's generated the most website visits? And then I'll use that information to like, how do I explain it? To like direct future campaigns or future marketing strategy. So like I'll be creative in terms of like being experimental, thinking outside of the box, creating like new ideas. But then I'll be like strategic in terms of like analyzing, okay, what about those things work? And how can I replicate that?
That's true. And I recommend also like making spreadsheets as well. Because I feel like that will kind of keep you on track and track.
Spreadsheets, mind maps.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for like creative tools. So like even I don't remember her name for the life of me, but I think she owns the productivity method. But yeah, anyways, literally I bought her digital planner. I swear to God, actually like you need productivity tools to stay on track.
There's a lot of stuff you just get overwhelmed, to be honest.
And you're gonna forget it, you can't carry them.
Because especially if you're doing that, it's only for now, you don't have a team, you have to kind of manage, and it is a struggle, especially if you're working.
You have to do every single role. If you're a fulfillment, you're on customer service. You're literally your marketer, content creator, you're the designer, that's like okay, you're an accountant, everything.
It's a lot, so you just have to kind of make it easier. And the one thing I've started doing is like making, a spreadsheet for each job. That way you can know what you spent, you can know kind of like, see your progress, see if you've lost money, see if you profited of this, so you can
kind your affairs in order.
Yeah, like it'll kind of get you in order, so I think that's really important. Yeah, what do you want people to feel when they wear your designs?
Confidence. Literally, like, I just want people to feel confident and audacious. And yeah, I just want them to feel seen. Because, like I said, like, my brand is like created to make every single body type, every single type of girl feel recognized and actually appreciated. And yeah, I just want to feel confident in like myself. And
I feel like you're starting to embody that because even seeing the girls wearing it on like socials and stuff, they feel really cute. Like, there's a bit of me really, and it's very flattering as well. And that's the thing as well. People like being comfortable, they want to get it. So I think that's like that really worked. So, what would you say your proudest moment as a designer has been so far?
I'd probably say that's such a good question. My proudest moment
so far.
I would probably say like launch day. I swear nothing can compare to how I felt on launch day. Like the day was so beautiful. I launched and right afterwards I got to go out with my dog and I just went quick over and so long. And then I remember like shipping out all my orders, seeing the girls like so excited, having them wear it. It literally felt like all my hard work. Like it literally had people.
I just thank God because it's like that is not everyone's reality, do you know?
Yeah. I've had most days where I've had nothing, so I've literally lived through both.
Literally, you just thank God for that because it's just like then you've used your experience, you've used that tool. That's why I just want to reiterate that the journey is so important.
It might not be now, but doesn't mean that's not going to be.
Honestly, and a one failed job, for what you gain from that, and I feel like life gets that happens sometimes. So that you know what to do because if you're starting from scratch, how would
I manage like a surgeon? Like literally, I don't know how I would have did that.
Literally, and you still have any village, right? Do you even know what shipping companies
are using?
Do you know this down your flow? Like, do you know?
That was actually ironically enough something I had to deal with. Literally on launch day, like literally, I bought all these orders. And I was like, oh my gosh, yay! Okay, but no one watched them. Like, okay, I don't get these out now.
Honestly, just have to, take it in. So how do you see your brand evolving in the next 5 years?
I see her being a lot louder. I see her coming out with a lot more collections. We've got one lady. I'm so excited. For like my ornamental collection that's coming up. I feel like she's gonna be another one of my babies. I've been putting quite a lot in there.
What's that? Oh, let's see.
I'm so excited. There's gonna be sneak peeks soon, so yeah.
Love to see. So if you could dress any celebrity, who would it be and why?
Ooh, I'd probably say JT. And I feel like, yeah.
Actually, work. Like,
I feel like JT, and I feel like she just embodies like my brain. Like she's just so loud, apologetic to herself. She's so bad B, and yeah, I definitely just JT. And I feel like she's so experimental as well. So she'd give me like a lot of creative control. I can have fun with her. Yeah,
I feel like it's definitely suits your vibe, honestly, because I feel like her, she's very, like you said, experimental, like, very eclectic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like it'll just suit her, like, even like the skirts that they have. I feel like that will really.
Yeah, that would be JT. Manifesting JT.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start in fashion design but doesn't know where to begin?
I'd probably say find your place in the market, find your place in what you're trying to create. Like, fill a gap. If there's a pain point that you're seeing that hasn't been filled, try to get it. For me, it was the lack of representation for like tall girlies. Find your place. Once you've done that, research and equip yourself with as much information as possible. Information is literally free. Like, you literally lose nothing from knowing more. Like, know as much as possible. Like I said, find yourself a mentor, just ask questions, read books, whatever. After you've done that, create. Like, you've gathered enough knowledge, you know where you want to stand in the market. Create what you want to, design, find a manufacturer, and then lastly, launch. Just it happen.
Yeah. I think that's good advice to honest. And I feel like as well, making mood boards and all of these things will kind of collect all the ideas together. Even when it comes down to creativity or shoots,
And vision boards as well. I literally have a vision board in my room that's like, it's right opposite my bed. So every single day when I wake up in the morning, I can't help but look at it.
And I feel like it's just a form of manifestation.
Being intentional.
Yeah, vision boards and writing down your goals. I feel like as well. Even that's biblical, writing down what you want for the future. And it will manifest eventually, you know what I mean?
And even just like affirmations as well, that's even biblical. Like, as a man speaker, so he is. Like, literally, whatever you profess over yourself, whatever you profess over your life, I'm a business owner, I'm a woman of God, all of those things, they will eventually manifest.
They will eventually manifest in your life. And if you, want, let's say, you want a successful launch, you're saying it.
Yeah.
But people ask how is your brand going? My brand is going very
amazing. Remember when I was talking about when I first started and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna launch my brand. I don't care about how many times I fail. I'm gonna be
It's like life and death time, guys. As much as
conviction.
No, honestly, it's true because as much as we think that spiritual.
Everything is spiritual.
There's life and death when we take authority. Do you know what I mean? Over the good things over our life. So. It's like, you want a successful life. I'm going to have a successful life.
Exactly.
My next connection will be my breakthrough.
It's going to sell out. Yes, we claim it.
It's going to be my breakthrough.
Amen.
And it's going to be, the moment where everyone will know who I am.
Amen.
So you have to kind of speak like that. Even if guys not showing that way. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like as well, especially those who are faith, God will show you again. It's not what we do, but, there's people in the Bible, let's say there's kings in the Bible that they've had to, be servants.
Yeah. Exactly. Before you get there, you have
to. Before you actually get to that point, you have to do things.
Do you have
essentially equip you, for example, I've worked in jobs like customer service. That's something that I would need as a business owner.
Exactly.
Dealing with people, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So everything shapes you to the person you want to be. Do you know what I mean? There may be a time where you don't get instantaneously, but you will get there. So every little thing in your life, no matter what you're doing, it adds up and it makes you who you are and how you handle it. If I didn't work with closely customers, I may not be able to steal people or have that being more offended. And that can send you to the party because people will take you there. But, dealing with people, the more you deal with people, the more you deal with them, you'll know, okay, cool. And you have better management skills over So, just everything shapes you. Just don't be discouraged about timing. And just also don't be slow to act on what you know you're supposed to be doing. Because then, you know what actually changed the game for me, I saw one thing that said, Michael Jackson, anytime he felt like, okay, come on, idea, he did it That same moment, he didn't want God to give it.
Do you know what's so funny? I remember I saw a quote and it was like, procrastination is like an abuse of God's gifts because you believe that He's going to give you another chance to do something that He's already given you the chance to do. Like, imagine God told you today, I want you to design this, but you're like, it's fine, I'll do it tomorrow. But He already gave you the time today to do it. You don't know if He's going to give you tomorrow. So that you are abusing God's gifts because you don't know if He's actually going to give you life tomorrow.
Honestly, that's just so true. And that's something that, I especially growing older, that I'm not playing about with. So as soon as I get pops in my head,
I think if an idea lands on you, it won't sit there and wait for you. It will jump onto the next person.
And that's nothing.
And you know what's so funny? When I was first starting out my brand, literally when my brand was Alafia, the label, I literally designed two separate pieces that I wanted to release. But I sat on them for so long. I kid you not, God is my witness. Literally 2 other fashion brands basically came out with their identical pieces that I was going to put out. No, literally, it happened to me twice. It happened to me, and it wasn't even like literally identical. Like how I drew it on my iPad for like a year, and when I saw because my best friend sent it to me one time, she's like, "Isn't this look identical to what you're telling me?" And I was like,
"See, guys, and that's why even that one content, I may have an idea of how to do it. I just start procrastinating. And then I go and scroll and see someone else do it. I said, no, but why?
Exactly, you time it for too long.
Yeah, and then it works out for them. So, guys, if you learn anything,
ideas are like energy. It's gonna transfer.
Ideas, you know what I mean? Because there's many people on the earth that,
There's 8 billion people. You think you're the only person that has the idea? I promise you, you're not. You're not the only person with the idea. You need to be the quickest person to act on it.
Literally, the biggest lesson from life: just don't waste God's time.
Exactly. Don't waste God's given time.
Don't waste the time. We don't like our time wasted.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Designer Dialogues, and I hope you learned so much and gained so much knowledge from our guest Reni, the founder of Renway. But yeah, I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye.